So I was working with a travel agent who was dealing with people that do corporate travel. And when we started, and I was asking, so why do people pick you? A lot of the conversations turned around to kind of basically being able to get the best deals. Having worked in the industry for so long, it was kind of the relationships that had been built meant that, she could make the greatest savings. Now, my job is to try and understand, like, what is it that her customers really want from her, and how can we make sure we communicate that? So that's what I did. I interviewed her customers and her ideal customers. And yes, they valued that about her, but it actually, what uncovered was all the things that she was doing but not talking about, right? And I remember she telling me about, she knew her customers so well, she remembered all their travel preferences. So which way they wanted to be seating, what type of seats they liked, when they wanted to travel. She knew where they were going and had researched the area. So not only could she put them in the best places so it's so convenient, she could get them free upgrades. And it basically meant that she was actually anticipating problems going wrong before they ever did. So they never knew about them. And I was like, okay, that's really interesting because you're using your experience to show that you think ahead. So we're going beyond deals. But when I talked to her clients, this is what this meant, right? Because she was anticipating what was needed before they did. They never knew about it. So the journeys work with her was so much smoother than anyone else they'd used. And their thinking was like, look, because when we arrive at a venue, our job is to usually close the deal, run a workshop or do a presentation or give a speech. So for us, that's where we make our money. So we kind of look at it as like our team have to arrive ready so they can perform at their best. And she allows us to do that because there is no disruption. And so they're always fresh. They're never fatigued, never jet lagged, never worn out. None of that ever happens. And that was the big difference. And when you think about it like that and you start talking about arriving ready to perform like an athlete versus getting the best price on the deal, you can see the big difference in how you can totally transform the way something is perceived. And this is what I like to uncover. I like to build brands where I'm going to go a bit deeper. I'm going to talk to you and your customers, and we're going to get that alignment to understand what is it that they love about you, what do they want, and then bringing that back to them so they can validate that and you can actually develop that service that they want and win more people like them. So again, this is another episode of what you are selling is not always what your customers are buying. I hope you found it interesting.